Welcome to Pride and Parsippany. I'm your host, Mayor James Barberio, for another episode with the Knoll Country Club. My good friend, Glenn Foesel, who I can tell you, we went to elementary school together, middle school together, Brooklyn Junior High. We went to Parsippany-Troy High School and we graduated together. Glenn, welcome.
Mr. Mayor, thank you for the invitation.
And Ann Cucci, who's our finance director, controller, all these titles. And she helps out with the, well, actually, I guess you're the director as well with the Knoll Utility.
Thank you, Mayor.
And that's what we're here to talk about today. Our one of the biggest gems in Parsippany is our Knoll Golf Course, our Knoll Country Club. And we're gonna, I'm gonna start off with you, Ann. Can you give us a little bit? I have them all prepared. So
I say that.
The good things that are going on with the Knoll Country Club right now.
Well, yes, we're very excited about the Knoll Country Club. First of all, last year was one of the best years we've ever had, and the game is weather related, obviously, and so we're very excited that today we're opening up the west, the upper Knoll, and the lower, the east opened yesterday, and we're ready to go. It's going to be 70 tomorrow, I believe. So
wow,
we're already booked in the morning all the way to, what did you say, Glenn? 1 o'clock, 1:30?
Till 2 o'clock every
Yeah,
two times.
So you're booked already.
We're already booked, ready to go, and very excited about that. We have lots of capital work that we're going to be starting this year. One of which is the golf range. We have an architect we've hired to begin design work, and we'll be meeting with him, I believe, next Wednesday or Tuesday to begin work on that project. That's the biggest project we have.
I guess one of the advantages we had this year was, well, actually last year, was the fact that the weather was so great.
We were
open up all the way to Christmas, correct?
Correct, right through Christmas, right through the new year, actually, yeah.
Wow, that's great. Now, can you give us a little, I don't know, you or Glenn, update on the website, on the Golf Now, and explain that to the residents?
Glenn, why don't you?
Sure. So, like a lot of things at the Knoll, unfortunately, a lot of things are antiquated. So one of the things we researched, Ann and I, was to get us more exposure, and we needed a update of our current website. We need to attract millennials. We want people coming, searching our website. The misconception for years, Mayor, has been most people think it's exclusively private club, and we post a limited amount of daily tee times to the public. So without this website becoming state-of-the-art, we wouldn't have the ability to start to sell. We're selling, or we're trying to expose the club the tee times that the membership doesn't want. So there has to be an added attraction for someone to join the Knoll West Country Club, and one of the big things is advanced tee times and so on. So, and another aspect of exposure is key to our success is golfnow.com. Golfnow.com is synonymous with golf course tee times, especially with millennials. Most people don't have the ability or the time or the patience to call up and make a tee time. They want to take their iPhone, search the web, find a tee time, book a tee time, and they show up. So those are two key components to our success. It helps that Ann has supported a lot of decisions I've been making up there, so the whole transition should be very smooth, and I'm real excited about this year. We had a fantastic year last year. Membership is going to be, we had a membership drive over the winter. I think membership is going to be better than it was last year. By ordinance, we can have 1,000 members, but we try to hover around 800 members.
Good. Thank you. And can you explain, because this is something that a lot of residents don't know, with utilities. We have a sewer utility, a golf utility, and a water utility. And we're going to get to the part, Glenn, before we move forward on how you dramatically, decreased our expenses and why that was necessary. Can you explain to them that if expenses exceed revenues, what that means?
Yes, a utility is self-sustaining in that it brings in its own revenues and has its own expenses. It is not supported by the township itself. It has to be its own entity. It's almost like a private business. So a misconception is that the people of the regular taxpayers have to support all the utilities, and that's not true. So the Knoll is self-sustaining. It does pay into certain things that the township shares, and the whole point is that it needs to be self-liquidating in that the revenues have to be more than the expenses, and that's where we strive. And it's a balance because unlike unlike the water and the sewer, which you have to pay, a golf utility it's really a recreational activity, in that it's not mandated for anyone to pay into it. So that's why we have to attract members and other people to play up there and have other activities as well.
Right, and we'll do that. I know that's something that we wanted to do for a while,
Right.
different type of activities other than golf. Glenn, when I hired you 3 years ago,
Correct.
when you became, superintendent of the golf utility, you had, great aspirations for it. Looking back now, what changes do you feel need to be made? And I know you made changes to the website, and you did make some dramatic cuts, and that was important to do. Can you explain to me and the residents why that was necessary?
Well, again, we have to be self-sustaining, and if we're not, if our revenue doesn't meet our expenditures, then
Right.
we're operating in a deficit. So one of the things I identified when I first was appointed by yourself, and I'm grateful to that, was the fact salary and wages was our biggest expense, and we had to identify what we need and what we could kind of consolidate. So the amount of seasonal employees that were working was dramatically cut back from 40 to 30. Our full-time employees at one time were 14, down to about roughly 8 or 9 right now. I can't give an exact number on that, depending on what happens going into the calendar year of 2016. But the biggest thing was the overtime was reduced in 3 years by 55%. So
great.
that's a credit to the administration, explaining to Ann where our weaknesses were, where we should be paying overtime, where we shouldn't be paying overtime, and both pro shops, there's no overtime. So the biggest thing is you have to identify where your problems existed. It was your salary and wages. That was our biggest expense. And on top of that, my operating budget of where we need to apply, whether it's pesticides, whether it's green supplies. We just had to identify where we needed more money and allocate that money to that correct line item budget. So.
Are you having an amateur tournament this year here?
Yes, we are.
And that's the ladies?
That's the ladies. It's going to be one of the qualifying rounds for the women's junior state amateur, and we're also going to be hosting a senior event, and that's going to be, I think, and George Ansuta, the golf pro, has been setting that up. I think that's going to be sometime during the summer. So those are two added benefits for us: more exposure. People see what we have. It's a hidden gem. It really is.
It's all beautiful.
It's a great golf
You
course.
took me for a ride on I did some wheelies by accident, but on the golf course.
A lot of history there.
Wasn't good with it. Dave Otis, is that his name?
Yes.
He's what now? The U.S. Golf Association. What's his involvement now?
He is a representative from the USGA. He has a wealth of knowledge, experience. One of the things that the membership has been involved with for the last 25 years was the USGA comes, they look at our golf course, they identify our weaknesses, our strengths, and they submit like a 15-page report. It was unique that when I started, the reports that I found were tucked away, in a box. So Dave Otis has been instrumental in my success. Any questions, any concerns that I have, I run it by him. Let's face it, I'm not an expert, but I'm willing to learn and investigate. But Dave he represents the USGA, and he will come, let us know where we have to make modifications to our fairways, our greens. But he helped us also in approving the driving range that we're going to start this year, and hopefully we can piggyback onto the irrigation system that is another part of the antiquated system up there. We have to move forward. We have to spend some money to make some money.
Good. Using the word moving forward, 2016.
Yeah, 2016.
Now I know we spoke in my office about ballroom renovations, driving range renovations. Well, not renovations, building a driving range.
We're building, yeah.
But I go to a lot of events at the Knoll, and that definitely needs to be refurbished, as one would say. So what are the plans?
We have 3 major plans for 2016, all in the works already, one of which is the driving range. And with that, we're piggybacking and having a master plan done for both the east and the west, using Stephen Kay, that's what he does for a living. He's a golf architect. And then we have another architect we hired, and he has done a design for the building. The building in the west needs quite a bit of work. We're starting with windows, and he's finished the design already, and we're getting ready to procure all new windows on the back of the Knoll, the Knoll West banquet hall. And we're going to change the one room, the one I guess on the right, the big banquet hall, to, instead of having that porch kind of thing, we're going to close it all in with windows, so it'll make it really beautiful and efficient at the same time. And that'll be where we're starting. I believe we're talking about a four phases to fix the country club up there, one of which will be the windows to start, and we're looking at the ceilings, the outside. So that's all coming in 2016. Very excited about that.
Me too, because, I mean, Glenn, that was one of the first things that you discussed with me when you became the superintendent, just coming into the Knoll, it was so antiquated for a golf utility and for a golf. You want to have that golf club look. And even though it still has it, you could see things need to be changed. And, what I've been blessed with is prior councils understood that, the township council. Now it seems like this council's on board to understand that it's a gem. Don't throw it to the side, because we have a lot of potential for it. I always wanted to put a miniature golf course in there, but I didn't realize how much acres you would need for that.
Yeah,
but it's nice. I mean, the plans that I thought, but we're going to do this first before we get to the miniature golf. The irrigation now. Explain the irrigation. I know that we have to do irrigation system has to be.
If I can just convey this, Mayor, the biggest concern is we waste a lot of water because the building is 24, 25 years old. The irrigation system's probably 37 years old. The amount of heads that we have that produce the amount of water is not significant to water the greens. So what that means in turn is we have to keep these sprinkler heads on longer. So new systems use less volume of water, more sprinkler heads, and ultimately our goal is to save on water. We have a huge expense every year, and like Ann was saying initially, if Mother Nature's on our side and we have enough rain and we don't have to irrigate our golf course, it's okay.
Right.
But last year, again, we lost 2 weekends to rain, so we didn't have much rain, and our water expense was very expensive last year. So we need to update the irrigation system. That is one of the goals that we have for 2016. We're moving forward. We have a couple of consultants that I've been in contact with, and Ann and I will make a decision, and then we'll present it to the golf committee, and then we'll move forward.
Right on the design.
Okay, yeah. So now, I mean, I know we talked to these plans, but what are future plans as well? I mean, I know that,
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, you can go because you got to answer it.
Well, the irrigation system is probably the next biggest project that will take a number of years, in my opinion. And depending on the results of Stephen Kay's analysis in the master plan, will kind of determine what we're doing with the golf course. It may involve a miniature golf course. It is a beautiful piece of property that there's areas that we need to address. Namely, we were also talking about building a golf school up there and using maybe that building or not near the pool and making that into a golf school, which generates revenue, obviously. Those are the kind of things we're looking at to do just on that side. And then, of course, the building renovation needs to be done. Looking at the grill room a bit, to maybe make it something that would be open much more, that would be that the regular public can come out and use and open more. We talked about doing something like that as well.
No, I know that I go in there. I mean, I haven't had any events there lately because there was a rule that, if you're an elected official, you can't, and you own a facility. But that's changed now from what I understand. What kind of events do they have there? I mean, you would answer that, but either one. What kind of events do they have? I know this
Besides
one
the
has a
golf-
Columbus Day, big out on the Columbus Day.
But we host over 75 golf outings a year. Along with the golf outings, we host parties, retirement parties, numerous weddings, social events. But again, I think it's key. You know, for us to drive more people to the facility, we have to make changes, and that's a big part of our success. The biggest thing that is going to benefit golf, because people are going to continue to come to play golf, but it's an added attraction when we have the ability to show off our grill room, to show off our banquet halls. But we do have occasional business meetings that are held up there. So we're centrally located. It's a great spot. A lot of big businesses are calling. Some people are coming in. They're very happy. But the big thing is the golf course, once we get this driving range and we break ground, that's going to drive more people, because believe it or not, that's a big attraction. If you have a driving range, whether it's before you play, after you play, or during your playing, some people will walk off the course because they're just not having a good day.
Right.
But when we have that driving range there, that will just take us to another level.
And we've talked about that since I've been mayor, putting that driving range in.
Yeah, that's been.
You know, when I go around the county, I go to areas and people, somehow I might be in another golf course. They brag about the Knoll Country Club and how beautiful the course itself is. Can you explain? I mean, the course, when you took me for that ride, you know, you see everything from a distance, but when you ride, I can't believe how well maintained it is. And I don't know how you get grass to be that high and be so thick looking. And it just was amazing. I mean, I guess we have a very good crew of individuals. I mean, and I know you brag about them, Glenn.
Oh, absolutely. You know, the green superintendent, John Grady's been employed for 20 plus years. The assistant green superintendent, Matt Segrist, he's got 25 years with the town of Parsippany. He might even be a year more, but these gentlemen have been committed not just to me, but to the town of Parsippany for a long period of time. And when I was appointed to this position, you know, I basically came in and said, listen, you guys, I'm not going to change the wheel here. You guys have been here a long time, but we just want to take it to the next level. And I think we've made gradual steps to increase playability, to increase the exposure. And without these guys, and keep in mind too, like you said initially, we cut back dramatically on manpower, you know, and so considering the manpower cuts and where we're at now and what we're doing and what we're posting and what we're putting out there for people to play, we don't really have too many complaints. The only concern we have from membership is, Glenn, is this driving range going to go? You know, they wanted the use of a credit card for 30 years.
Well, yeah, that was a question.
And now we have credit cards.
Right.
So
that was a woof.
We're taking some big steps up there,
Yeah.
but it's because of the current administration, yourself and Cucci. We work together, and we want what's best for the town, but we also want what's best for the Knoll Country Club.
And we also wanted to be attractive to people outside of the membership. That's part of the goal of the driving range, to attract young families and kids. That's how I started. I was 10 when I started. My father brought us to the driving range, so we're hoping to attract young people and have a school up there, and for everyone in the town, not just golf, people who play, but people who don't, you know, and begin a school.
I was asked many times, you know, in the course of 2 years about, you know, what do you think about privatizing the Knoll? I said, absolutely not. I said, first, we're self-sufficient. That's number one.
Right.
And I know how much everybody that works there cares for that course. And I know how much you care for it, Glenn, and how much you care for it. And I don't think anybody can do it better than we have. And, you know, it was bleak when we had the 2 hurricanes. That hurt. I mean, there's no doubt about it. And that's what you have to try to explain to the individuals to be that, you know, work on your budget, or not just work on your budget, to even some residents. Hey, listen, when you have hurricanes and you just can't use the course.
Right.
Like you said, it's weather driven. And after you figure all the stuff that we've been through in town, and it's still solvent.
Right.
And it's not solvent by accident. It's solvent by the hard work, Glenn, you, all the individuals that work there, that support the town, that support the golf, you know, because that's their pride and joy. And I tell you, there's nothing, when I read some of the magazines that you guys give me, how we're ranked one of the best municipal courses in the nation. I mean, it's not the state, it's the entire nation.
Right.
So that has to say something. But I know I'm going on and on because I'm about to end the show,
Ah,
but it's okay. But today, we have for you. I'm like, thanks for coming. Anyway, Glenn, once again,
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you,
Yep.
and
Thanks for having us.
and thank you for supporting, the golf utility and the town. And Ann, like
Thank you,
always,
Mayor.
I know you work hard, and we all do. But thank you for your time.
Thank
And
you
I'd like
very
to thank
much.
everybody for tuning in once again to the show Pride in Parsippany. As you know, I'm your host, and until next time, God bless you.